Some places don't appear on maps because they were designed to be forgotten. The Coldridge Seismic Research Station closed in 1987, not gradually, not with announcements or decommissioning procedures. One day, it simply stopped transmitting. The staff left, the doors locked, and the mountains swallowed it back into silence. For 38 years, it remained hidden on a ridge 7,000 feet above sea level, accessible only by a service road that nature had long since begun to reclaim. Ethan Cole found it on October 14, 2025. He didn't plan to, didn't even know it existed until 3 days earlier, when he received an email with no sender address, just a subject line, "You need to see this," and attached a set of coordinates. The coordinates led here, to a concrete structure half buried in the mountainside, to a door that shouldn't have been unlocked, to a hallway where his footsteps echoed like they were descending into something vast and hollow, and to a machine that had been waiting for him. The station was smaller than Ethan expected, a single-story facility built directly into the rock face, more bunker than research center. Concrete walls, narrow windows covered with metal shutters, a faded sign near the entrance read, "Coldridge Station, authorized personnel only." The door opened with a metallic groan. No lock, no resistance, like it had been left ajar deliberately. Inside, the air was cold and stale. Ethan's breath misted in the beam of his flashlight. The corridor stretched ahead, linoleum floors cracked and warped, ceiling tiles sagging with water damage. Emergency lighting strips ran along the baseboards, long dead. But something hummed, low and steady, a sound he felt more than heard, a vibration in his chest, in his teeth, coming from deeper inside. Ethan moved forward slowly. Doors lined the corridor, offices, storage rooms, a break area with a vending machine still half-stocked with decades-old candy bars. Everything covered in dust, everything exactly as it had been left, except the last door. It stood open. Light spilled from inside, not electric, but pale and greenish. The glow of old analog displays. The sign beside the door read, "Monitoring Station, Active Seismic Equipment." Ethan stepped inside. The room was dominated by equipment from another era. Rack-mounted electronics with mechanical dials and analog meters, oscilloscopes with round convex screens, reel-to-reel tape machines mounted in gray metal housings, and in the centerfold, a massive analog seismic recorder, the kind that used a stylus and paper drum to track ground motion in real time. The machine stood nearly 6 feet tall, its cylindrical drum rotating slowly behind a protective glass panel. It was running. The drum turned with a soft mechanical whisper. The stylus moved across the paper in smooth, precise strokes, drawing a continuous line that spiked and dipped with rhythmic regularity. Recording something, Ethan approached slowly. His flashlight beam caught the details: the manufacturer's plate bolted to the frame, dated 1981. The power cable hanging loose, unplugged, trailing across the floor. No power source, but the drum kept turning. The stylus kept moving. The green glow of the instrument panel cast shadows that seemed too deep, too alive. Ethan reached out and touched the machine's housing. It was warm, like it had been running for hours, for days. On the control panel, a small LED blinked steadily, red, pulsing in time with something Ethan couldn't quite identify. Not the rhythm of his breathing, not the rhythm of his breathing, something else. Beneath the recorder, a drawer stood slightly open. Ethan pulled it fully. Inside, dozens of tapes, reel-to-reel recordings in cardboard sleeves, labeled with dates, times, coordinates, all except one. The tape at the front had no date, no coordinates, just a single word written in black marker, ETHAN. His hands trembled as he lifted the tape. The cardboard sleeve was clean, no dust, no aging, like it had been placed there recently. A reel-to-reel player sat on the workbench nearby. Ethan threaded the tape through the heads, his fingers working on autopilot. He'd used equipment like this before, archival work for his thesis on early warning systems, but that felt like another life now. He pressed play. The reels began to turn. Static filled the room, soft, consistent white noise broken by occasional pops and crackles. Then a voice, female, clear, speaking in a measured, almost clinical tone. "If you're hearing this, you've already made the first mistake. You came here, you found fault line 7, and now it knows you're here." Ethan's throat tightened. He glanced at the recorder. The drum continued its slow rotation. The stylus traced patterns that looked almost ... deliberate. The voice continued. "They built this station to listen for earthquakes. to measure the pressure building beneath the surface. But they found something else. Something that wasn't geological. A pause. The static grew louder, not random noise, but something structured, patterns emerging and fading. The machine started recording signals that didn't match any known seismic activity. Rhythmic, pulsing, like something was communicating through the rock itself. Another pause, longer this time. Ethan could hear his own breathing, too loud in the enclosed space. By the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. The signals weren't random, they were intentional. They learned how to listen to time. The static cut out abruptly. Silence. Then the voice returned, softer now, almost a whisper. "Don't go downstairs, Ethan. Whatever you do, don't go to the lower level." The tape ended. The reels stopped turning. The silence that followed felt heavier than before, dense and oppressive. Ethan stood motionless. His name. She'd said his name. On fault line 7, the stylus began tracing a new pattern. Sharp spikes. Regular intervals, not seismic activity. A heartbeat. His heartbeat. The machine continued recording. The pattern on the paper drum grew more complex, layers of waves overlapping, creating interference patterns that looked almost like language. Ethan moved to the workbench. Other equipment sat there, covered in dust sheets. He pulled one away, revealing a second device, smaller, more compact. A prototype by the look of it. Exposed circuitry, hand-soldered connections, a metal plate riveted to the front. Chronoscope prototype for temporal signal analysis. Do not operate without authorization. Temporal signal analysis. Ethan's academic background was in seismology, not physics, but he understood enough. This wasn't earthquake monitoring equipment. This was something else entirely. A pair of headphones hung from the side of the device. Ethan lifted them slowly. The cord was frayed. The foam earpieces cracked with age. But when he held them to his ears, he heard it. Static, but underneath, voices. Dozens of them, overlapping, speaking in fragments. ... 3 days since arrival. ... The pattern repeats every ... Double quotes ... Tried to leave, but the road ... It knows we're listening ... And then, cutting through the other's own voice. This is the 4th time. I've done this 4 times now. If you're hearing this, you're me. You're in the loop, and you need to... The signal dissolved into static. Ethan dropped the headphones. They swung on their cord, twisting slowly. Behind him, fault lines of in emitted a low-frequency pulse. The sound rippled through the room, through the floor, the walls, the air itself, like the mountain had taken a breath. The stylus on the paper drum drew a single massive spike, then returned to its baseline rhythm. On the far wall, a red emergency light began to blink, slowly, deliberately, illuminating a metal staircase Ethan hadn't noticed before. Leading down, the staircase descended into darkness. Emergency strips along the steps gave off a faint amber glow just enough to see the first few stairs. Then nothing. Ethan stood at the threshold. Every instinct told him to leave, to walk back down that corridor, out the door, back to his car parked on the access road. But he'd driven for hours to get here, had followed coordinates from an anonymous email, had found a machine recording his name, his voice, his heartbeat. He needed answers. The first step groaned under his weight. The metal felt solid to solid, like it was anchored to something far below. Ethan descended slowly, one hand on the railing, his flashlight cutting through the darkness ahead. 10 steps down, the temperature dropped. His breath came out in thick clouds now, visible even in the dim light. 20 steps, and he felt it, a vibration through the railing. Subtle, rhythmic, like a pulse traveling up from deep underground. 30 steps, and the walls changed. No longer concrete and metal, but natural rock. The staircase had been carved directly into the mountain. Rough-hewn surfaces glistened with moisture. Water dripped somewhere in the darkness, a steady metronome counting down to something. At 40 steps, he reached the bottom. A corridor stretched ahead, rougher than above. Support beams bolted into the rock at regular intervals. More emergency lighting, these still functional, casting everything in shades of red and amber. The humming was louder here, much louder. He could feel it in his bones, a resonance that made his teeth ache. And at the end of the corridor door, heavy steel, the kind designed to seal something in, or keep something out. It stood open. The room beyond was circular. Natural cave formation, maybe 50 feet across. The walls had been reinforced with steel plating and thick glass panels, observation windows looking into the rock itself. Equipment lined the perimeter. More seismic recorders, data terminals with flickering screens, a large reel-to-reel system mounted on the back wall, tape spooling slowly between massive reels. But it was the glass that drew Ethan's attention. Words, scratched into the surface with something sharp. Dozens of messages overlapping, some barely legible, written in different hands, different styles. He approached slowly. His flashlight beam revealed the text. Day 7. It's not responding to seismic patterns. It's responding to thought. The signals come before the tremors, not after. Before. Sarah tried to leave. Found her car back at the station the next morning. No memory of returning. Loop number 3. I remember now. It always ends the same way. If you're reading this, you're already part of it. The machine chose you. And at the bottom, freshest, carved deeper than the others. ETHAC, loop number 4, OCT 11, 2025. 3 days ago, 3 days before he received the email, before he came here, Ethan's hand moved to the glass. His fingers traced the letters of his own name. The floor trembled. Not violently, not earthquake, violent. Just a deep, resonant shudder that traveled up through his legs, into his spine. The kind of movement that suggested something massive shifting position far below. The equipment around him responded. Screens flickered, recorders spiked. The large reel-to-reel began playing. A voice emerged from the speakers. His voice, October 14th, second day at the station. Fault line 7 is recording patterns I've never seen. They correlate with decisions I haven't made yet, like it's measuring probability, or time itself. A pause. The sound of paper rustling. I found the messages on the glass today. My name is there, but I didn't write it. Unless I haven't written it yet. Another pause. Breathing. His own breathing. Recorded days or weeks or months ago. I'm going to the lower level tomorrow. Sarah warned me not to. But the tape with my name, it came from down there. I need to know. The recording cut out. The floor trembled again. Stronger this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. Small rocks skittered across the ground, deep underground, so deep Ethan couldn't begin to estimate the distance. Something moved, something vast, something that had been listening. The glass observation panels began to fog, condensation spreading from the center outward, obscuring the rock beyond. But before they clouded completely, Ethan saw it. Movement in the stone, not cracks, not geological shifting movement, like the rock itself was breathing. Pulsing with that same low-frequency rhythm he'd felt since entering the station. The equipment went wild. Every recorder, every meter, every screen showing the same thing. Massive energy spikes originating from directly beneath the facility. Readings that made no geological sense. Wavelengths that shouldn't exist. On the main terminal, text began appearing. Not typed, just ... appearing. Letter by letter. Green phosphor text on a black screen. Signal detected. Source, subsurface anomaly. Depth, 14.7 km. Type, non-standard. Classification, aware. Ethan read the last word 3 times. Aware. The reel-to-reel continued playing. Different voices now, different times. A dozen people, maybe more, all describing the same experience. Double quotes ... It's not geological, it's something else ... The patterns repeat, but we don't remember ... Double quotes ... Tried to destroy the equipment, but it comes back ... It chooses who comes here ... Once you hear your name, you're part of the cycle ... The voices overlapped, creating a chorus that made Ethan's head throb. He backed toward the door. Needed to leave. Needed to get above ground, into sunlight, into reality. But the corridor beyond was gone. Where the doorway should have led to the staircase, now there was only wall. Smooth, concrete, unmarked, like the door had never existed. Behind him, the glass panels cleared. The fog vanished instantly, and Ethan saw what lay beyond. Not rock, not empty space. A chamber, massive, extending down into darkness, so complete his mind couldn't process the depth. And filling that chamber machinery, ancient, organic-looking. Technology that seemed grown rather than built. Pulsing with that same rhythmic light he'd seen in Fault Line 7. The same frequency, the same pattern. It had been here all along. Listening, recording, measuring, waiting. The terminal screen changed. Chronoscope analysis complete. Temporal loop confirmed. Participant, Ethan Cole. Iterations, for next reset, October 14th to 23rd, 47 minutes and 33 seconds. Ethan checked his watch, 11:43 p.m. 4 minutes. The machinery beyond the glass pulsed faster. The rhythm building, the low hum rising in pitch, not loud, but penetrating, vibrating in his skull. He turned back to the terminal, typed with shaking hands. "How do I stop this?" The response appeared instantly. "You don't. You never do. You always come back." "No." Ethan spoke aloud. His voice sounded small in the vast chamber. "I won't. I'll remember. The screen updated. You said that last time, and the time before. The signal is already in your head. IT brought you here. IT will bring you back." The floor shook. Not geological, not random. A response. The machinery was acknowledging him. On the wall, the glass fogged again, but this time, words appeared in the condensation, written by no hand, forming on their own. "Welcome back, Ethan. Loop number 5 begins soon. Don't forget to write your message." His message, the one carved in the glass, the one dated 3 days ago. He hadn't written it yet, but he would. After the reset, when he forgot, when he came back here thinking it was his first time, the terminal showed a countdown. 0 hours, 1 minute, and 47 seconds. Ethan grabbed something sharp from the workbench, a stylus, from one of the recorders, moved to the glass, carved quickly, desperately. ETHAN, loop number 4, OCT 11-2025. You've done this before. The machine is beneath. IT brought you here. IT will bring you back. The countdown reached 0. The lights died. Complete darkness. No emergency lighting. No monitor glow. Nothing. Then a pulse. That low-frequency tone. Passing through everything. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was standing at his computer. Home. His apartment. Morning light through the window. His email was open. One new message. No sender. Subject line. "You need to see this." He clicked it. A set of coordinates appeared, and below them, a single line. Coldridge Seismic Research Station. "You need to see this." Ethan stared at the screen. Something about it felt familiar, like he'd seen these coordinates before. He copied them, opened his Maps application. The location appeared at Mountain Ridge, 7,000 feet up. Abandoned facility, remote access road. His hand moved to grab his keys. He didn't know why. He didn't question it. He just knew he had to go. The Coldridge Seismic Research Station still stands, hidden on its mountain ridge. Fault line 7 still runs, recording patterns that appear for days before visitors arrive. On October 18th, 2025, another email will be sent. No sender, just coordinates. And someone new will make the drive. Will find the door unlocked. Will hear the humming. Will see their name on a tape they've never recorded. The machine beneath doesn't discriminate. It doesn't need to. It simply waits and listens. And when it hears your name in the static, it calls you home. If this story left you unsettled, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more tales from the darkness. Each week, we explore the places where reality bends and something waits in the shadows. What would you do if you received those coordinates? Tell us in the comments below.